Hello, 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 everyone. So I'm super excited because today we're going to be talking about the number one strategy that is essential if you want to create seven-figure impact. In fact, it's essential if you want to create any impact at all. So I was on the corporate's fast track. I had just been promoted. I got a cushy expatriate contract to go to Dubai. I had gotten my dream apartment, beachfront apartment. Everything was going super well. And although I should have been feeling super excited and just elated, the fact is I was absolutely overwhelmed. And many high achiever women that I work with and I speak with actually tell me that when they get into stages where they are progressing, where they're actually manifesting the things they have asked for, more clients, more people on their lists, even more money, instead of feeling elated and grateful, there's this sense of overwhelm and fear and anxiety and even sometimes frustration. Can you relate? If you can relate, kindly pop in the chat. Yes, I can relate. Now, what I want to say is that before I go into the strategies, I want to share that there are four areas of our lives. I know that most of the time we speak about the career, the money, the finances. However, you want to understand that there are four areas that will influence how you are feeling, right? You have your health, you have your relationships, you have your career and finances, of course, and you have your spirituality. And even if you have complete and amazing success in your career and you have relationships that are tense, your energy is low, and your spirituality is absent, then you are not going to feel amazing. You're not going to feel at peace. You're not going to feel joy because all of those four areas are absolutely important. The other thing I want to land is this. I want you to imagine that you have a bucket, right? And you have opened your tap at a certain speed. And it usually takes X amount of time for that bucket to be full. Now, I want you to imagine that you increase the speed of the water flowing through your tap, and you do that by 2. Now, your bucket is going to fill so much quicker, right? Absolutely logical. So whenever we increase the kind of impact we want to create, whenever we increase what we are doing, what we are giving, how we are showing up, we have to expand our capacity. We get to expand our nervous system. So there are 3 tips. The first tip in order, I know I mentioned one strategy, but I'm going to give you 3 strategies so you can ensure that the more you do, the more you give, the more you show up, the more impact you create, you are still feeling expansive as opposed to feeling as if you cannot cope. So the goal is so that you feel like you're overflowing, giving from a cup that's overflowing, as opposed to feeling overwhelmed. So number 1 is recalibrate. So recalibrate your mindset. Now, this is extremely important. Many people think that the results you're creating is simply a result of the things that you are doing. And the things you're doing, the action you're taking is important. However, let me say this for the record. You will achieve the level of results that are the level of the identity you have for yourself. So you will earn as much as your mindset allows you to earn. You will love as much as your mindset allows you to love. Your health will be at the level of your mindset, your spiritual connection as well. So if you want more out of life, if you want a life you truly celebrate as opposed to a life that you tolerate, then you definitely want to recalibrate. Right. Now, some tips for this. One tip basically is that you really give your body the fuel that it needs. Another tip is that you start your day with intention, not only about the professional things you want to do, but also the personal things. How would you like your life and your relationships to be, right? Another very important thing is that you surround yourself with people who are confident and people who are supportive and going in the same direction as you. Why is this essential? Because, first of all, there's sayings that say that we are actually the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Another thing is the people you surround yourself with are part of your environment. And no matter how strong your will is, environment will always trump. So I really want that to really land for you. The second thing that is really, really important is after you've recalibrated, or if you're doing that, you get to reconnect with your light, reconnect with what lights you up. The reason why many, many, many women are absolutely tired is that they're focusing on things that are actually draining instead of things that are actually lifting them up with joy. So ask yourself, out of all the things I do in my day, every single thing I do in my day, how many of those things actually bring me joy? How many of those things bring me personal satisfaction? If you are feeling drained, then it means that you're trading your personal satisfaction for external expectations. If you're feeling drained, it means that you're trading your personal satisfaction so that you can be dutiful, right? It means that your service is in detriment to yourself. And when your service is in detriment to yourself, I just want to say it because I just love to be real. There's going to be resentment. And you're not actually giving, you're not actually in generosity. You are doing things to get something because that is not an abundant flow. And this is not to point fingers or to make anyone feel bad. You simply get to get real. When am I showing up in a way where as I serve others, it's happening with such generosity and love for myself that it's a natural overflow into their cups from mine, as opposed to my cup being empty and me then trying to give from an empty cup, which, as you know, will not last long. All right? So I want you right now to write down 5 things that actually bring you joy. 5. If for any reason you cannot remember 5 things, that's okay. It simply means that it's been a long time since you asked yourself the question, what do I truly want? What lights me up? What brings me joy? And you're probably asking yourself lots of questions about, what do I have to do? What do other people expect me to do? You're no longer resented and connected to your own heart and your own desires, and you're so focused on what you believe other people want you to do. And you may want to get underneath that. Because why is anybody else's opinion or desire more important than your own? Remembering that this is your life. And at the end of your life, are you going to be asking yourself, how many people did I please at my detriment? Are you going to be asking yourself, did I live my life in integrity and in alignment with my values, with my desires? And thus, am I able to stand here and say, I lived it my way. I did it my way. And that doesn't mean that you're selfish or self-centered, or it means that you should never take other people into consideration. It simply means that as you are showing up in business or in your personal life and showing up in service to others, it means that you are truthful to yourself so that you are not showing up with a mask. You're not showing up as a fake. You're not showing up with a lot of tension, because when this is what we are thinking and desiring, and this is what we're doing on the other hand, that is going to drain because there's a constant pull. Your heart knows what it wants. Okay? And I can give you an example. I used to work in the corporate world. I was working incredible hours. I mean, gosh, 14-hour days, 15, maybe more. And at some point, my body decided it was no longer cooperating in my nonsense. I was having aches and pains, ending up in the doctor all the time. They said they couldn't find anything that was wrong with me. I was getting extremely sensitive to sound. My hormones were all over the place. I was drained at night. I mean, I'm a night owl, and I was completely drained. I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't stay awake. And looking back, because I didn't understand at the time, I hadn't yet gotten the awareness that I have now, I realized that I was living my life in complete and utter outward focus. Everything was, what do I have to do to get what I want? And it was always about the action, always about the external results, always about the expectations, so that I could be seen as successful, driven, motivated at work, etc. I had forgotten my heart. I'd forgotten what lit me up. And as a result, it was draining. And when we do that for long periods of time, we're actually negatively affecting one of the very important pillars, which is our health. And when we don't have health and we don't have energy, that affects every single thing that we have. Now, the last part of the strategies is actually about rechoosing you. And rechoosing you basically means rechoosing to show up on your terms. What do I mean by this? If you sit back and you look right now, you may be on a certain path, but you want to ask yourself, is that truly my dream? Is that really what I want? You may also look and ask, what are my relationships like? Am I the one always showing up and bending over backwards? Am I the one twisting myself into a pretzel, either in my personal life or even with my clients? Am I the one who's always there and never tired and never asking for help, and always the one people say, oh, you can do it, you can handle it, you do it, you have more, etc., etc.? Am I the one never asking for support? Am I the one never resting? Because I say I will rest only when I have achieved everything. You get to rechoose you, and that is a process that is not only a question of communicating to other people the new terms of your relationship, but also communicating to yourself the new terms of your relationship. And I'll give you an example. I used to believe that rest was something I got to deserve, right? So if I had work to do, even though I was tired, I wouldn't allow myself rest because I hadn't finished my work. Now I realize that rest is not a reward. Rest is my birthright. Rest is important because when I am rested, I think faster, I am more efficient, I am more productive, I'm more joyful, right? And so actually the smart thing to do is to give your body, to give yourself what you truly need, and everything else will fall into place. The danger of not giving yourself what you need, which is a form of not loving yourself, may I say, when we don't sleep enough, when we don't eat healthy food or appropriately, when we don't drink enough water, when we don't supplement ourselves, because the older we get, the more supplements we probably need, high quality, please. These are subtle forms of self-abuse, subtle forms of saying, I am not important enough for me to support myself in this way. If you think of somebody you love, it could be a pet as well. You will go out of your way to make sure that they're well nourished, to make sure that they go for walks. It's important. To make sure that they feel loved, the beautiful affirmations. How much of this are you doing for yourself? So it's very important to re-choose you, re-choose your dreams, re-choose your joy, and re-choose your terms. There's so many ways and strategies of doing things. One thing I love to say to my clients is when a person says, oh, this and this is happening, et cetera, and I ask just one question. Is that serving you? If the answer is yes, please continue. And if it is not, then what are the alternatives? All right. So remember, there are three things. If you want to make seven-figure impact, if you really want to keep growing without always crashing and burning, because what happens usually is that we're on a trajectory of success. We get to a certain stage and we haven't expanded our container. Remember, our container mentally, physically, spiritually, right? We haven't done that. And so what then happens is that we crash and burn. So instead of this beautiful arc of continuously growing because we're intentionally and proactively expanding our container to receive and to hold, we're going in that loop, which is frustrating and which creates overwhelm. So in order not to do that, one, recalibrate, continue the recalibration process. Remember that it is very difficult, if not important, to recalibrate your own mindset by yourself. It is required that you do so with somebody else. You want to get a coach or wherever else it is that you want to. But it is impossible in your own mind, with your own self, with your own limitations, to see completely those limitations and blind spots. You require support for that. Number two, it's very important to reconnect with what lights you up. When you follow your joy, you will see how much more energy you have. And actually, for those of you who are entrepreneurs, who are enrolling clients, you, when you show up as a joyful person, is so different from you showing up tired. In fact, the more energy you have, the more money you're likely to make. One, you're going to be more enrolling. Two, energetically, you're going to be able to receive and hold it. And three, we choose you. We choose your own dreams, not anybody else's dreams for you. We choose your joy. You deserve it. And we choose your terms. So I'd love to hear your comments. What resonated most for you? What are you going to start today? It could be one of them. It could be all three of them. Which of these do you find most difficult or challenging at the moment? All right. So share below. Either you're watching the replay or live. I'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like support with any of this, if you're sick and tired of being on the cycle of growth and then crashing, and you are ready to actually support yourself in expanding your mindset, your nervous system, your beliefs, then definitely reach out. It will be my pleasure to support you. Love and light.